What's cracking, everybody? Hello and welcome back to Gaming 101 with Mr. Berger. Tonight we're going to take a look at the Giant Beatdown Archetype. Now before we jump into this, I just want to take a quick second to take a look at this cool thing that happened to me. So I got a shout out from CWA, which is Clash with Ash, my favorite YouTuber. He said, "Great video, man." He replied to one of my comments on his things. I got a heart from it. He said, "Hey, thanks, man," and he subbed back to me and commented on one of my videos. So that's pretty cool. You know, I'm a little bit starstruck. Got my favorite YouTuber to take a look at my channel and subscribe to me. So that's awesome. Hopefully it'll help with the publicity a little bit and help me get some more followers and viewers and all that good stuff. Alright, so let's go ahead and get back to this Archetype deck video here. So we're going to be looking at the Giant, and if you take a look at the deck that I'm displaying in the top left here, we can see that I'm running quite a few legendaries and higher arena cards. Don't worry about that. Giant is a card that you get at very low arena. It's attained in the training camp, so you can get it basically as soon as you start the game, and it's definitely a viable card all the way from Arena 1 to Arena 12. So the deck that I'm running here is just one example. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the specific deck, but I would like to talk about the strategy behind the Giant Beatdown Archetype, and then I want to jump into a few live matches, because I think it's kind of fun for me to be able to play some live games and talk about it as I go, as well as talk about the overall strategy beforehand. Alright, so Giant is basically a core beatdown card. So he creates this archetype of beatdown, which is a big heavy snowball deck that allows you to build up big massive pushes and just kind of, you know, pummel your enemy into the ground all at once. So there's a few things that you want to keep in mind and a few advantages to using Giant. So as I mentioned already, he can be attained very early, so you can get used to using Giant from the very beginning of the game, and you can use him as your win condition all throughout your entire Clash Royale career if you so choose. He's cheap, but he's very tanky. He only costs 5 elixir. So that being said, this gives you the potential to get 2 of him on the field at once. You can do that with another heavy tank like a Golem, but since the Giant is cheap, it's a lot more likely to be able to do so, and you'll see that in a few of these replays that I'm running here. So he attacks only buildings. This makes him a win condition similar to the Hog or the Golem. He goes straight for buildings, and he's very tanky, so he allows support cards to, you know, live for a long time and you build up and build up to their full potential. So let's talk about support cards. You want to find some good support cards that work for you. You want to use your highest level support cards if you're playing on ladder and you're trying to push ladder. Generally ladder, you do want to go for certain archetypes and certain win conditions and things that work well, but you also want to go mostly for your highest level cards. That's what allows you to push. Because although you can be very good and you can definitely be a level 1 player that gets to Legendary Arena, that's probably not so likely unless you're really good. You're really a pro, right? So use your highest level cards if you're trying to push ladder. If you're not, then use what you think is best, what you want to play with, or what's the most fun. Think about synergy. In the deck that I'm using here, I'm running Baby Dragon and Tornado. Those two work together really well as anything else with splash damage does with Tornado. So the Zap and the Poison also work really well with Tornado, because Tornado pulls all their units together, and the splash damage hits all of those units all at once. So think about synergy when you're picking your support cards. Witch and Night Witch work really great because they're just as slow as the Giant, and they build up their bats or their skeletons and build up this massive beatdown. But you can also pick just about any standard support card, you know, like the Musketeer or the Wizard. Now one thing, I want to point this out now and I'll probably remind you again later, is to be careful of picking like the Ice Wiz and the E-Wiz and the Wizard all together, or like the Musketeer and the Wizard together, because they've all got a similar health pool and speed, and they'll likely be in the same spot built up behind your Giant, and thus they'll be susceptible to spells like Fireball and Rocket. So be careful with choosing multiple support units that have similar health pools. In this deck, you see I got the baby dragon, who's got a really high health pool. The archers, who aren't really low health like spear goblins or skeletons, but they're kind of slightly higher than that. They're not as much as a musketeer or wizard, but they also only cost 3. They outlast Zap, but they die to a fireball. I got the bandit, who's pretty tanky, similar to, almost close to a knight or something. Probably closer to an ice golem, something like that. And then the night witch, which is kind of like that middle range, you know, that same health as the wizard or the musketeer. So keep that in mind. So this is a very viable archetype for all arenas, as I mentioned. The giant has received a few buffs here and there, and a few nerfs as well. He did get nerfed for a while, and wasn't that great, but I've definitely seen a resurgence of him. And if you request him a lot, like I've done on my alt account here, you can see he's level 10 because I've requested him the most. Then he's very powerful. So he's viable for all arenas. Don't worry about the nerfs and buffs. He's definitely good in the current meta. Let's jump into another replay here. So something that you want to keep in mind is find what you're having trouble against and counter it. So if you're finding that your deck has a lot of trouble against horde, swarm units, like you're dying to a lot of like skeleton armies and goblin gangs or like bait decks, you know, put a log and a zap in there, or put like a wizard in there instead of a musketeer to support your giant to kill all their swarm units. So figure out what you're having trouble with and try to counter with that. There's so many options with the Giant Beatdown deck for support cards. There's so many different things that you can do. So it is safe to open with your giant as your opening play. There's a lot of different options in the Giant Beatdown deck. Generally, you don't want to open with like a golem or a lava hound. Maybe lava hound, but usually not golem as your first card, because then you're using 8 elixir, and that gives them the opportunity to counter push, or to really have, you know, the chance to build up whatever they're going to use to counter your golem. But the giant, since he only costs 5, it's a lot safer to place him as your opening card. So you can place him all the way behind the king tower like it did there, or all the way up on the bridge. So you want to build up a snowball, but in order to do that, you can actually defend with your support cards, and then you can counter push, and then place him at the bridge right in front of all your support cards. So if I played my Night Witch and my Bandit on defense, and they killed all of the enemy's push on my side of the arena, and they were going towards the bridge, I'd plop the giant down right in front of them. He would walk out in front of them and tank for them, and build up this massive, successful counter push. So that's kind of how you use the giant, and how you use the giant archetype, the Giant Beatdown archetype. Let's talk very quickly about card replacements for the deck that I'm using up here. I don't want to spend too much time on this because there's a lot of flex spots. You do want one cheap spell, so zap or log, maybe even arrows. I like archers as my support card. You probably want one cheap support card like spear goblins or goblin gang or archers or something like that. You could go a little bit heavier like a musketeer or an Ewiz. If you're going to replace the giant, replace him with another heavy tank like a golem or a lava hound. For tornado, that's definitely a flex spot. You go for another support card. Just again, be careful not to get like 2 or 3 wizards, because they'll all die to the same fireball. You could put a defensive structure, that would work out fine. Whatever floats your boat. I really do like tornado though. For baby dragon, that's a great card in the Giant Beatdown decks, and it's also one of the first epics that you can get. You can get it in the training camp as well, so it's awesome. But again, that's a very flexible spot. You could put a wizard or like even an executioner or a bowler, which are tanky AoE splash damage units. Those would work great in there too. For poison, go for another medium spell. Fireball would be great. If you want to go for something really heavy like a rocket, that would work out too. I like poison because it's one of the strongest medium cards, if not the most powerful and most used card, medium card spell wise in the meta. Your last two, for bandit, you could get another mini tank, or get like a Valkyrie or another support card, so you could go like knight or ice golem. And for Night Witch, you could just replace it with a witch or another support card. You know, get like that wizard or that musketeer or that executioner in there if you haven't already. So that's it for strategy. Let's go ahead and jump into some live matches here. Alright, let's go ahead and just jump on into a couple matches here. Here's the deck that I'm using, same one as in the top left there. Let's see how I do. It'll be good to do some wins and some losses if I can, to see if I do poorly where we can go better, or where I could have done better, right? Now, as you recall from some of my previous videos, this is my alt account, and sometimes I purposely lose matches so that I can keep my rating a little bit lower until I decide to push. I finally got to a point where I was at level 11 and I was facing level like 8, 9s, and 10s, and I'm like, okay, that's not fair. So I decided to push up to Electro Valley, and now I'm definitely getting opponents that are a little bit more close to my level. So it'll be better for my videos. Alright, he's got an Expo deck. This will be interesting. It's already locked on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zap it, and that'll cause it to retarget onto my giant. Ooh, that Inferno Dragon scares me though. Yeah, that giant's going down, but at least I'll kill the Inferno Dragon. Oh, the giant stayed alive a little bit, so that's good. Okay, a little bit of chip damage with the archers, not a bad start. Now I know what I'm going up against. So I kind of want to save my giant to counter his Expo now that I think about it. I'm going to poison to get some chip damage off and destroy his furnace there. I place the poison so that it also chips away at the the fire spirits, so that they don't chip away at my tower. Actually, my tower would destroy them before they got there anyway, because they're level 10, my tower's level 11. Now I'm trying to save my giant for his Expo, because I know it's coming. That's his win condition. So I'm just going to kind of play defense for now. That bandit got a buff recently. Her minimum range got reduced. Am I saying that right? Yeah, her minimum range got reduced, so she can dash from a little bit closer range. Alright, I'm just going to put the giant down because it's double time. He's probably going to put his Expo down right after, but that's okay. I'm going to try to build up a big push here. I'll chip away at his tower and his Inferno Dragon with some poison. I got my zap in hand, so I'm ready to counter that Inferno Dragon. Here we go. And hopefully I can finish it off with the baby dragon and the archers before it destroys my giant. I can't. And this is what I was talking about getting 2 giants onto the field at once. The first one's going to die, so I don't really have 2 that are too effective, but I was able to get 2 out at once, which is pretty cool. And sometimes you can totally get 2 smacking their tower at the same time, which is awesome. Now, one of the reasons that poison is a really good medium spell card in the Giant Beatdown archetype is because it clears the way for your giant. A logical and a go-to counter for giant, especially in lower arenas, is swarm cards like Minion Horde and Skeleton Army. So you're going to see that a lot in the lower arenas. So having poison to counter that is really great because it clears a path for him. You just poison on top of your giant and hit their tower as well, and that allows you to kill their Skeleton Army or Minion Horde or whatever came to kill your giant, right? Before, right as they place it. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into another match here. No need to throw one now. Alright, good luck, Wendy Q925. Wendy's laughing at me. I don't blame her. Alright. Let's open with the Night Witch. Night Witch is a good card to place in the back because it spawns those bats and can build up a big snowball and walks really slowly. I'm going to counter his Musketeer with a Bandit. I'm thinking to counter the Princess if she doesn't die to the Night Witch, then I'm going to use... Ooh, I got to react here. Okay, Archers, I'm going to put the Giant in front to tank for them. Another useful thing the Giant can do is tank for all your support cards on defense too. So you place them in front like so. Let's use the poison to kill the Princess and all the skeletons. And let's use the Tornado to pull the Hog into the King Tower and activate it. Something that I mentioned in many other videos, especially my countering heavy decks with countering heavy decks with cycle decks video. That was the one where I talked about why that's so effective. Alright, she gave me a thumbs up. Thanks, Wendy Q. I'm gonna play defense. Ooh, level 10 giant, not as strong as my level 9 giant. Mine is level 10. I can't talk tonight. Alright. Baby dragon, do your thing. I'm thinking... Archer's back here. I'm going to poison all of this. This is going to be good. And then I'm going to tornado everything together so that my baby dragon can cleave it. Oh no, I missed the hog with my tornado though. That's bad. Got a couple swings off. Things could have gone much better for me there, but that's alright. I think I'm just gonna, I was tempted to put the bandit there, but I think I'm gonna play safe and just wait for double time, try to play defense, and then build up a big massive push with my higher level giant. Alright. So, Baby Dragon's locked onto his support. That's really good. Alright, I'm going to put the giant in front here. As I mentioned, this allows me to go for a counter push. I'm going to put the poison down. It's going to kill that skeleton army. See, perfect timing. He put the skeleton army down. I'll just zap those guys to get rid of them. Alright, the giant's so tanky. On top of the poison, it takes out the tower. That's good for me. Okay. Bandit. Ooh, didn't get her dash because he put the musketeer down. At this point, I think I'm just going to play hard defense. I'm not going to try to go for a 3 crown. I'm just going to, you know, try to win the match. Alright. I'm going to put the giant down to play defense just to buy me some time. Place the archers down just out of habit, right? And there's another win. Alright, why don't we do one more, and then we'll call it a video. Now, if you have any tips for how I could play the Giant Beatdown archetype better, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you have anything that you think I left out that was important to mention, let me know in the comments, and I'll make another video and include that in the future. Alright, I don't have the best starting hand this time. Let's go ahead and start with the Baby Dragon. My Baby Dragon's level 6 because that's the card I've been requesting on Epic Sunday on this account the most. You know, I've been using it from level 1, same as the Giant, and I'm using it now on my alt account where it's level 11. He does have a P.E.K.K.A. that hard counters my Giant, so that's kind of scary. But I'm going to go for an aggressive Giant on the left there just to distract him, and then try to counter all this with like archers and maybe a Night Witch. He has mini P.E.K.K.A. too, wow. Okay, well his P.E.K.K.A. is going down, so I'm fine. And actually get some damage off on his tower. I think I'll try to tornado his mini P.E.K.K.A. into my king tower. Alright, it worked. Awesome. See, that's a tactic you can use with so many units. Like, I've almost never, if ever, done that with a mini P.E.K.K.A., but I just thought about it right there. I'm like, that would work. Tornado's such a strong spell. Oh my goodness. Alright. This is a fun trick you can do with anything that targets buildings only, like a giant or an ice golem. You place it right there, and you kite any slow units like the P.E.K.K.A. all the way across the map. I can use my bandit to counter his wizard. Bandit dashes up and counters support cards really well. That's kind of her main job. I'll zap all of that. It won't kill the goblins, but it'll kill the spear goblins. Put some pressure on both towers at once. I'm just going to save my elixir at this point. I could have tried to support those and finish off a tower, but I'm thinking I'll play a little bit kind of safe and then go for a counter push once we get into double elixir time here. At this point, honestly, I could just play defense and then just cycle poison onto one of his towers if I had to, or just win from chip damage. Poison can practically kill that tower on the left there right now. Ooh, he's got a balloon. Interesting. Well, balloon is hard countered by tornado, so don't worry about that. Just tornado it into the center there, and it's dead. And since I pulled it away from the tower, even its death damage doesn't do any damage to the tower now. Alright, I got pushed on the right, I'm pushing on the right and on the left, both at once. It's looking good for me. I think at this point I can just apply a bunch of pressure onto his main tower, and he won't be able to come back. I'll clear the way with the poison, just in case he has any swarm cards. And that is GG. Alright, well, I didn't get any losses, but that's, again, just because some of my cards are a little bit over-leveled, and it just happened to be some matches where I won. I'm not trying to show that I win all my matches, because obviously I don't. I lose plenty. Go ahead and check my main account record if you don't believe me. You know, we all win some, we all lose some. That's the nature of the game, and that's why I do this on my alt account. Sometimes throw matches, because I'm just trying to have fun when I'm playing my alt account. So, thank you everybody for checking out this Giant Beatdown deck. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Leave some comments below. And thanks especially to everybody who shared. Alright everyone, have a good night.